Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be filling out all of my reads from the month of February 2025. We got everything set up in the bullet journal last week and now we are ready to fill it all out. This was a pretty quiet month for me. I had 4 reads. I got done with a really big chunker and it was still a fantastic reading month and I had a really good time with it. So let's get into the bullet journal, shall we? So we are going to go right over to the reading goals. I finished another buddy read, my Memories of Ice read I did with my friend Katie. And then Curse of Chalion I actually read as a Discord read-along for my Discord. So that's 2 more buddy reads. I can mark off 1 of my translated works. Haven't finished any series yet, no classics, no science fiction, no literary fiction. However, we did read 2 mystery thrillers, which I kind of feel like I should have given myself a bigger goal with mystery and thriller because as of March, I have already finished that goal. All right, so for buddy reads, I can put in Memories of Ice. Okay, moving on to the series tracker, and this one I can mark off Memories of Ice for the Malazan tracker, which is very exciting. It's the first time we filled in something on this page, which feels awesome. For genres, I read 2 fantasy and 2 mystery and thriller. I did have 1 DNF this month that we will talk about more in a little bit. I actually have something to put on the K-dramas and TV shows page. We have 3 shows finished and 1 film that I watched. The first one is Mr. Plankton, which is a Korean drama that I've been watching with my friend Casey. This one has one of my favorite actors in it, but honestly, this K-drama was not great. It's been getting a lot of accolades, and I honestly don't understand why. There's a lot of, I don't know, very questionable motives and relationship, emotional manipulation in the story from the writers that I was not a big fan of. So I'm gonna give this one a 2-star. The acting was great and has actually more than 2 of my favorite actors in it. But again, it was a big disappointment, which was kind of sad. But moving on to a new K-drama that I'll probably have for you guys at the end of March that I am enjoying much more, and I will share with you guys what that is later. Then in terms of TV and film, I watched a movie called Only the Brave, which was absolutely incredible. It's the story of a bunch of firemen who unfortunately were lost to a massive blaze out west, and it was beautifully acted and it was really tense and just, it was hard to watch, but it was so well done. It was such a well done movie. Highly recommend it if you are okay watching something with a lot of grief in it. But I thought that was a phenomenally done movie. 5 stars for sure. Then I did go back and watch the first season of The Big Bang Theory. That's a show that I have loved for a really long time and just felt like watching something funny and have been laughing like crazy at this show again, rewatching. So that was a good mix-up from a lot of what I was reading and the other stuff that I was watching, and I had an absolute blast with season 1. Next, I watched the first season of The Chosen, which is a show that is depicting the life and ministry of Jesus, mostly the ministry of Jesus. And yeah, I mean, I really love a lot of what The Chosen is doing that a lot of other depictions of Christ's life do not do. And they're really I think, doing a good job showing the real everyday life of Christ and his disciples, and that's something that I've been really appreciative about it. So yeah, looking forward to watching more of both of those shows. They're like complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of tone, but I'm enjoying both of them. So we actually have some things on these pages now, which feels awesome. Let's move on to Nothing for Book Club. Recommendations, we don't have anything. However, we can fill in some of our A to Z challenge. We've got Memories of Ice. We've got Curse of Chalion. And we have We Begin at the End. All right, moving on to Book of the Month. So my book of the month for this month was Curse of Chalion. I really, really enjoyed this book. We'll talk more about it when I get into the review section, but it was so good, you guys. I am honestly shocked that more people are not talking about Bujold's writing in our fantasy nook on BookTube, because she is a phenomenal writer, and I'm frustrated that it took me so long to get to her, but I'm really looking forward to reading more of her work and just seeing what else she's created, because honestly, this was an incredible read this month. All right, 2025 at a glance. So this is all of the basic data from the month. I had 5 books finished. I had, let me check my post-it note here. I had 1,936 pages. No audiobook hours this month. My average rating was a 4-star, which I was really happy about. 1 ebook, 3 physical reads, 0 audio, 1 DNF, and then I hauled 1 and unhauled 5. Oh, that's not true. Hold on. Hauled 3. Because we're counting ebooks, I forgot about that. All right, so got our second month in. Let's flip to the month of February. All right, let's get started on our monthly stats. So for the hauls and unhauls for this month, I actually did a book buying ban where I decided I was not going to buy any physical books at all in February, and the only exception to that was that I pre-ordered the new Hunger Games novel, Sunrise on the Reaping, and I had done that like the first day of February, and that was my one exception to the book buying ban. So I bought that one and did not buy any other physical copies at all for February, which was awesome. And I bought 3 ebooks that were indie sci-fi, and they were on sale for like $2 for the 3 of them, and Amazon's Kindle stuff was going crazy this month, so I thought I would grab those quick before anything happened where I couldn't download them anymore. So overall, I feel amazing about this month and how the book buying ban went. I think it was a success, and I may continue to do book buying bans throughout the year because I think that that's actually really helpful for me. And then for unhauls, I actually did go through my shelves a little bit this month and pull a few books that I knew I wasn't going to keep. A couple of them were from this month of reads. Okay, we are ready to move on to reviews. So, let's start with the first book I read here in February, and that was We Begin at the End by Chris Whitaker. This is a mystery, not really, it's a soft thriller, and it has multiple murders involved in the story that kind of start at the beginning and through the first part of the book. But at the heart of this story, it's really about a young woman named Duchess. She's a young teenager, and she's being raised by a mother who is an addict, and she's trying to raise herself and her younger brother, essentially. And she gets wrapped up in the history of a past murder, a current murder, and the other protagonist of the story is the sheriff of the small town where Duchess lives, and he is kind of struggling with a lot of different things from the first murder that happened in the past, and now trying to deal with the fallout and a lot of unrest that is happening in his small town. So overall, I binged this read. I thought it was a very easy read. I wasn't a big fan of some of the character motives and the way that Duchess specifically felt a little bit more like a character who was built as a vehicle for a kind of caricature or idealized, like, wiser than their age child, which I love that kind of an archetype, but I think in this book it went too far to the unrealistic side, and I don't know, it was fine. I had an okay time with it, but it is definitely not one that I think I want to read again. And as I've said before, if you want my full thoughts and more expansive reviews of these books, please go watch my monthly wrap-up where I just talk about the books. But I'm trying to remember how I did this last month. Look at Vincent King, and I see you looking his way, like you expect him to still be the kid that left here 30 years back. He's gone, though. Whatever you knew about him, it left him the day he stepped into Fairmont. All right, so the next book I read in February was Malice by Keigo Higashino, and this is another mystery novel. This one was more of a whodunit, and I really liked that. We kind of narrowed down the suspect pool pretty quickly in the beginning of the book, and instead of trying to figure out who had done it, to some degree, there was a little of that still, but for the most part, it was a whodunit. And I actually really liked that, I've discovered. I like the character exploration of a whodunit over a whodunit. I enjoy both, but I really liked the kind of slow reveal of these layers and having kind of this unreliable narrator vibe. I thought that was really well done. I really had a good time with it. And I am definitely going to be continuing on in this series. There are 3 other books that all feature the same detective that is in this first one. Then I had an idea. I should record my experience. I should write the story of how my friend was killed. That is the story behind these notes. I've decided I will keep writing them until the case is solved and the truth is out. Okay guys, first two reviews are in for the February reads. Now we're going to go to the second page. Now I am going to actually remove this page decoration probably and do a collage because I only had 4 reads in February, so we're not going to fill both of these pages, which is completely fine, and it gives me a little bit of space to play. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do on this page yet. I might do a Malazan quote and collage behind it. I don't know, we'll see. But let's get into my last 2 reads for February. Once again, my book of the month was Curse of Chalion by Lois McMaster Bujold. She brings us in with a mentor character style protagonist, Kazaril, who is a war veteran, who is basically barely made his way home after being horrifically tortured and mistreated at the hands of an enemy, and all he wants is to go back to the place he grew up and retire peacefully. However, when he gets there, he discovers that there is a curse on the people, the family essentially, that he is sworn to protect, and things begin to unravel very quickly. So he is a tutor for a young woman who is a princess, and she is a phenomenal young character, and we kind of get to see her coming of age amidst this dark curse and death magic atmosphere with Kazaril as her mentor. And I love that it's told from his perspective. He is a fantastic, very heroic kind of character with a lot of flaws, but he is written very engagingly and well, and I loved him a lot. There are so many good characters in this book. There are so many lighthearted moments alongside a lot of the darker themes, and I just think that Bujold needs to be talked about more frequently in the community because she is a phenomenal fantasy writer. But if you desire a man to tell you comfortable lies about your prowess and so fetter any hope of true excellence, I'm sure you may find one anywhere. Not all prisons are made of iron bars. Some are made of feather beds, Royess. Okay guys, I'm gonna move on to Memories of Ice because my hand is bothering me a lot today. But Memories of Ice is book 3 in the Malazan Book of the Fallen, which is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I am rereading the first 4 books before I then move on to finish the rest of the 10-book series. And my reread of Memories of Ice just reminded me all over again why this series is so special to me, why Steven Erikson is just an incredibly gifted author. I'm just in awe of this story. There definitely are some things in this book where it blows open the scope of the story even more than book 1 and 2, and we finally start getting some answers as to what is actually going on, the lore of the world, a lot of the history and what's been leading up to the big conflicts that are going on, and it gives you real answers, I think, for the first time in the series, and it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information, but like I said in my monthly wrap-up, I really want to encourage people with Malazan because I think it gets a reputation as a impossible series or a really intimidating series. This is a series that I encourage people to just pick up and try. Don't listen to all of the, oh, you need to read it this way, or it's going to be so hard to read, you need to take notes. Ignore all of that. I would highly recommend just picking up the first book and trying it because I think that this series, the fans of this series, do a disservice to it often in the way that they talk about how hard it is. It is a complex series, nobody's denying that. However, I think that the unreadability that is insinuated with a lot of the comments that are made is wildly out of focus and not true. If I can read this series the first time and get so many amazing things out of it, anyone can. Like, this series does not need to be reread. A reread is very fun and I'm getting a lot out of it, but I also got a lot out of it the first time I read it and I loved it. So just a little bit of encouragement for anybody who might be nervous about starting Malazan. I would highly recommend just picking up Gardens of the Moon and trying it for yourself. Armor encumbers, restricts the body and soul within it, but it also protects. Blows are blunted. Feelings lose their edge, leaving us to suffer naught but a plague of bruises. And after a time, bruises fade. Okay guys, I'm gonna go back over to this blank page over here and we are going to actually remove this washi tape so that I can do a collage. I might hopefully not damage the page too much pulling this back up because I pressed it down pretty hard the first time, but I think we are good. Okay guys, so this is going to be a little bit of a segue into my face, which I don't normally do for my bullet journal videos, but I had a little bit of a snafu after I finished the last clip that you saw of the bullet journaling for February, and I decided to finish that last page with something a little bit different, and my computer went into the shop for repairs and I wasn't able to finish filming and everything and get that up on my computer up onto the channel for you guys. So I thought I would just come on and show you what I ended up doing once I decided what I wanted to put in that last page. So I've been using sticker paper for all of the book covers and all of the little font things in the monthly spreads, and I decided I wanted to try something a little bit bigger. I have a plan for a series that I want to read this year that I wanted to kind of try with something else before I made it later on for this bigger idea. And so I took a picture from a book cover that was recently done by the Broken Binding for the Memories of Ice special edition that they put out, and put that cover on the end of the book, which again, if you haven't read the book, this isn't going to mean anything to you, but just in case you don't want to see it, this is your warning. I'm going to uncover it. There is a quote that I also stuck on the page underneath the picture or by the picture. So that is what the final page ended up looking like. It didn't quite fit all the way to the edges, but that's okay. I think it turned out pretty well considering I was trying to stick an entire page worth of sticker to the page. It actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. And I put one of my favorite quotes from Memories of Ice here on top of the picture. So as you can see, that is the finished February setup. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I'm so glad that you guys have been enjoying the bullet journal videos as much as I've been enjoying making them, and we will see you in the next video for March.